I'ma take y'all back where it all started.
Let me tell you about my city, a little town where I'm from, where everybody's southern raised, just as good as they come. Backwoods and mossy oak and mud holes, and back then we only ate what the farm grow. Man, I miss some days how we played on them dirt roads, and out of towners came with respect, cause they know we all close. Yeah, southern pride, towing gun folks. Welcome to my city, I-75 South, just north of Lava.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods when they ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, title town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We ready up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
It's nothing like our dirt roads, you can bet that, son. I'm from a city, by any means, we gon' protect our guns. I hang with the rednecks and yee-yees. We get up in big trucks in the backwoods like Indians and teepees. This the home of the mighty, mighty Vikings. Wildcats, blazing, title town license. Winners, pretty girls with country grammar. When I say about Austin, Georgia, I ain't talking about Atlanta. This a different type of city, where the woods are pretty, but get gritty, you hear me? What you know about that 229? You can find us on the Florida, Georgia line, where I reside.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods when we ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, title town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We ready up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey. Moonshine and whiskey.
Some folks really don't understand how important it is and never forget where you came from. You know, when I say Lowndes County, man, I mean Lowndes County.
I'm from a city called Austin, Georgia, right on the border of Florida. I was raised on these dirt roads, mud tires, spin backwoods when we ride. This is small town living, yeah. Now welcome to my city, title town, 229, turn it up so they can hear it loud. We ready up with big trucks and heavy G's, pretty girls with moonshine and whiskey.
What's up, Viking Nation, and all you sports fans all across Titletown and all across the Wintersville Nation? Keep that name in mind, the Wintersville Nation. So, it's the eve of the GHSA Class 6A playoffs, and we're going to get into all that tonight. We're going to get into season stats, how pleasantly surprised everyone is, that kind of stuff about our Vikings. I had no doubt. And I'll be happy to go back and show you the video where we talked about that in the off season. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later on as well. So hang on tight. It's going to be a good show. We're going to talk about the playoff brackets and an alternative set of playoff brackets as well. And if you're scratching your heads wondering, LG, what are you talking about? Alternative playoff brackets? No, this is something that I dreamed up in my own head, and I laid out another set of brackets. And what if we went down that road? How exciting would that be? So I'll explain all that as the show progresses on tonight. So welcome aboard, Sharon Hemp, Casey Harrell, longtime viewer of the show. Playoffs, so proud of these mighty Vikings. Casey, what an outstanding comment. You know, when I see outstanding comments on the screen, I just want to show them off. So that's an outstanding comment. Playoffs, so proud of these mighty Vikings. I think we all are. Show off all that talent, boys. Absolutely. Kenneth Hurst watching over there, all the way over in Thomas County land. The Central Jackets are starting their playoff run tomorrow as well. You know, they're in a different classification this year, but they are defending state champs as well. So Best of luck to Cole Moore and the Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets. It's going to be an interesting playoff run. I do think so. So if you haven't been paying attention, if you're just now tuning in, because let's face it, there are fans just now tuning in because early in the season they kind of wrote off our Vikings, right? Because of the last several years, that kind of stuff. But man, we are plowing straight ahead, and people are starting to jump back on the bandwagon, and I love to see it. Love to see it because we always welcome every single fan. I don't care if you're a bandwagon fan or a true diehard. Welcome aboard the Viking ship. We need all Viking voices if we're going to make a serious run deep into the playoffs. So here's what we're up against. Let's go ahead and go over the what do you call them? The composite rankings. You know, I've been on these rankings all year. I think, in my opinion, Lowndes has been disrespected in the rankings all year long. And I brought that up on several shows. And some of you said, you know, LG, you just need to calm down because the rankings will take care of themselves. They'll shake themselves out and that kind of stuff. I'm finally glad to see it. But I thought we should have hit the rankings a lot sooner. So here are the consensus rankings now that we are entering the playoff season, right? The third part of the football season. And so Carrollton sits the top of Class 6A. They're undefeated at 10-0. Buford, right behind them at 9-1. They're ranked number 2. North Gwinnett, ranked number 3. They are undefeated at 10-0. Remember those 3 teams. All 3 of them in the top 3 in the composite rankings in the state. And just to hit these rankings, you got to keep in mind, this is like more than one poll. The composite when I say composite ranking, maybe I just realized that there are some people that just don't know what I'm talking about. So you've heard of the AJC poll or the Phil Jones has an ITG Next poll. Well, all these polls are basically put together by Georgia High School Football Daily, and they give us a composite. So they average all of them out, and they give us a pretty good consensus, basically, poll. And so Carrollton, Buford, North Gwinnett are in the top 3. Grayson at 9-1 is number 4. Douglas County, 8-2. Keep an eye on Douglas County. I know most of you probably, if you're a casual fan, you probably don't know who Douglas County is, but they have been making noise all year long. There's a lot of, some people would say transfers, some people would say move in, some people would say other things, right? But regardless of what label you put on, Douglas County is one of those teams this year that's hitting a lot of radars when it comes to teams in the metro area. Okay, so they come in at ranked number 5 at 8-2. Collins Hill, our nemesis in recent years, is 9-1 and ranked number 6. North Cobb 10-0, and our Lowndes Vikings come in this week at number 8 with a 9-1 record. Now, what I love to see about where Lowndes is positioned right now, obviously there's room for growth, but you know, the last several weeks, maybe 1, 2, 3 of these polls recognized us. Now all of them, all 6 polls recognize Lowndes and puts them in the top 10. So I think Max Preps has us the highest, ranked number 4. Now Max Preps is a computer generated poll, so they've got us ranked number 4, and that's going to be important as part of my alternative or alternate playoff bracket that we'll cover in the next few minutes here. But the Max Preps computer ranking has Lowndes ranked at number 4. Now, Colquitt County comes in consensus number 9. This is really, really interesting, right? Because Colquitt beat us head to head and took the region title from us. But they've got Colquitt coming into the postseason ranked number 9, right behind Lowndes. Now, Mill Creek is ranked number 10, and Valdosta rounds out the top 11 at 8-2. Okay, that's pretty interesting, right? So let's get on with these polls. So let me go ahead and bring up the brackets. Let me go ahead and bring up the official GHSA bracket. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that up on the screen. I think you can see. I'll zoom in on the. So Lowndes is going to be in the lower right hand quadrant. So let's go ahead and bring it all the way up. All right, so there we are, Lowndes and North Walton. Now, Lowndes is the heavy favorite going into tomorrow night's game at Martin Stadium. I think I read that Lowndes is a 4-touchdown favorite over North Paulding. I don't know what kind of score you guys are predicting. Let me go ahead and throw that out there. What do you think the score is going to be? Now, I'm obviously you guys are going to think that Lowndes is going to win, right? But I'm interested to see what you guys think about what the spread should be, in your opinion. Sandra Futch is joining us. She says, "Go Vikings." Absolutely, Sandra. Robert Lindsay is joining us. He says, "We will play anybody, anytime." Keep that in mind, Robert. I'm going to challenge your thought here in a second. And I certainly agree with you, but I'm going to show you the road that Lowndes has got ahead of us. I think we can win just about all of them. Now, Sharon says Lowndes by 50. that has been the rallying cry from this show all year long. I think Armand Rashad, he'll be joining us in a few minutes here. He and Chase, and he's been chirping on this every time we have a pick 'em every single week. He says Lowndes by 50, and I can't disagree with him now, right? So Lowndes has certainly had their way with the competition. Okay, so some of you are starting to put in now. Kevin Riley says go Vikings. Casey agrees. She says Vikings by 50. Are you guys there? Are you playing with me? All right. Do you really think Lowndes is going to win tomorrow night's playoff game by 50? They might. But is that your true opinion, or are you actually just playing with me there? RJ Ramos says Lowndes 42-28. That's an interesting score. So I'm going to bring up let's see, where is it at? Okay, so here it is right here. Forecast. This is the forecast from the Maxwell ratings, the Maxwell computer model, if you will. And sure enough, there it is. Lowndes by 28 over North Paulding. Now, they've got Colquitt as a 35-point favorite over Wheeler. Now, it gets a lot tighter with the other two teams out of Region 1. Valdosta is a 1-point favorite going up to Walton. But you got to keep in mind, Valdosta's got to travel to Walton, and Walton's a pretty good team. So that's basically a pick 'em game right there. Now, it's interesting. That is not factoring in injuries, things like that. So that is assuming a very healthy Todd Robinson and Deron Foster, right? So I don't keep up with the Wildcats over there. I'm assuming those two players are going to play, but we saw how kind of ineffective at times Todd Robinson could be if he's not 100% or hobbling on that ankle, as we saw in the Wintersville Classic during some plays, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how Valdosta fares tomorrow night against Walton. But he's had a couple of weeks to rest up now. So, it was a game. Yeah, he's had a couple of weeks to rest up now. So he should be good to go. But you never know with high ankle sprains. Okay, so that's how our region is. I think, was that all the teams? I'm leaving out a team, right? Who did I leave out? Oh, did I leave out Camden County? Oh, there it is right there. So North Cobb is a 12-point favorite over Camden County. So Camden's got to travel up to North Cobb to take on the North Cobb team up there. All right, let's go ahead and welcome in one of our super fans, Chase Garnto. Chase, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. Oh.
Got your Lowndes gear on? You ready to go for tomorrow night?
Oh, always, man.
All right, so I'm asking our audience, we're all expecting a Lowndes win tomorrow night, but I'm asking our audience kind of early in the show tonight to tell me what their point spread is. The Maxwell computer forecast picks Lowndes by 28. So you think Lowndes is a 4-touchdown favorite, legit, going into that game tomorrow night?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, this is not the strongest region across the state. Now, the first and the second seed are fairly good in Walton and North Com, but Wheeler and North Paulding, I don't think they're very good teams. Now, North Paulding is a quality team, but they're not going to be world beaters, and so I think they're going to be overwhelmed early tomorrow night. And so, anyway, it's going to be it's not going to be a pretty game tomorrow night. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You forecasting that too,
Oh yeah.
man? Hold on a second, man. I switched my equipment around to kind of maximize the space in my home studio, and I'm not used to the mixer board being on my left. It's usually on my right. The reason why I moved it around so I can more permanently fix the iPad that I'm using for this screen, so I can do stuff like that, you know. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to get me one of them so I can be like, see what he done right here was boom, he was over here.
That's right. So I'm planning on, so just to give you guys a preview, what I'm trying to do is um, do some type of, uh, what I'm doing right now is kind of researching into some telestration type of equipment. So I'm already planning for next year. So what I'm trying to do is have some of our highlight videos where you and Armand could draw on the screen to actually diagram plays like this is where we exploited a team. This is where what we could have done, that kind of stuff. Kind of like the old Madden Telestrator type of deal.
Yes, Madden with his pen.
Yeah. And that just gives an element to a high school sports football show that no other program in the state is going to have.
Well, you got that already.
Well, yeah. Well, we're just taking it to the next level. That's what we do here, man.
I mean, you got me. That's next level.
That's true.
That's
That's true.
yes.
All right. So Robert Lindsay a while ago was talking about we'll play any team in the state anywhere, and we may get our wish. I was going through the composite rankings earlier, and what I talked about were the top three teams. I don't know if you guys remember that top three not computer, but consensus teams: Carrollton, Buford, and North Gwinnett. Right, top three. Check this out. Let's assume Lowndes wins that. I know it's kind of messy, but look at this top three team.
You forgot something there.
What's that?
You forgot the U before Buford.
No, there it is right here.
No, the U.
Oh, the University of Buford.
Yes, there we go.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Listen, my Ray City brain kind of taking me a second there to figure out what you're talking about. Okay, so then you take a look at North Gwinnett. What did I say? North Gwinnett. They're a top three team.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say North Gwinnett is projected to beat Denmark. Now, if you take a look at the up here, you got Carrollton, and Carrollton is projected to win there, right?
Yeah.
So they're projected there. So Carrollton is going to face Valdosta in the second round. And as much as I want the Wildcats to take that game, Carrollton is probably going to be a heavy favorite in that
See,
game.
and I'll be honest with you, LG. Just given Walton's past history,
Yeah.
I I, I really I think Walton's going to win.
Whoa, really?
Man, just it's a gut feeling, dude.
Okay, all right.
Really,
Well,
and
listen,
'cause Walton's
Maxwell kind of agrees with you. They're making Valdosta a 1 point favorite, but that's basically a pick 'em, right? So
yeah,
it's basically a toss up. So I'm hoping the Wildcats win because I pull for our hometown game. But you're being a realist and you're thinking that Walton's going to pull it out.
yeah, but I mean, you got to look at Walton's history, man. Walton's been an Achilles heel for a lot of really good teams.
Yeah,
So I mean, and we're in the games at Walton though, right?
right.
So yeah, man, I don't see Valdosta winning that one. I think they're too beat up, and honestly, like I hate to point this out, but uh, Deron Foster still is nowhere near 100%. We saw that in the Wintersville game. Um, and without him, uh, as much as uh, Fennell is projected to be a
Yeah.
great running back, he's just not it, man. He's tiny out there compared to those guys, man. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
I think he's going to be a good one. He's just not there yet.
I think he might be a great slot guy. I think he
You
might be a
think so?
slot receiver. He's got decent hands. He's got good
Mm.
speed.
Right.
I just if you want to play 6A ball with his size, and I just think you're just going to have to be relegated to playing a slot.
Yeah. So, okay, so that discussion aside, let's just play along and go along with Maxwell and assume Valdosta is going to win. To me, it really doesn't matter whether it's Walton or Valdosta. Carrollton is going to be a heavy favorite over both of those teams.
Oh yeah,
So I'm going to assume for a second Carrollton. And remember what I said about Carrollton?
hmm
They're the number one team in the state, undefeated, not having a problem with anyone this year. Okay. So we're going to assume they're going to go sail all the way to the semifinals. And so look who's waiting. So you've got Buford, top 3 team. You got North Gwinnett, top 3 team. And you got Carrollton, top 3 team. That's our bracket.
I was having this conversation earlier in the week with a sports guy, and
Yeah.
we contrary to popular belief, Lowndes has way more than enough firepower to beat you.
You think so?
Way
Okay.
more than enough.
Okay.
They may be a top 3 team, and that's fine. Max Preps, Maxwell, whatever can, but Lowndes has been underrated all year long, and I like it that way. Keep underrating us. That's fine. Cool.
All right, so here's what you're going up against. When I know this is what I'm about to say is just polls, okay, human polls, that kind of stuff. So this is what you're going up against. This is how the national media regards Buford. So USA Today has Buford as the number 14 team in the nation. Max Preps has Buford as the number 12 team in the nation. Cal Preps has them as number 19, and so that's what you're going up against. But you're saying that Lowndes, we can travel up to Buford and still beat the Wolves. That's
Yeah,
what you're saying.
absolutely.
Okay. I like it, man. I love your confidence. I'm never gonna poo-poo on your confidence.
Look, it's not even that. It's dude, you can't zero in. Like, look, Lowndes teams of the past, you can zero in on one player
Yeah, that's true.
and
Listen,
and say,
no disagreement there because there's a lot of arrows in that quiver.
yes. And listen, Lowndes has. I'm sorry, and trust me, I'm a big Ja'Cory Brown guy. I'm a big Michael Barrett guy. Those were great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
We have not had a quarterback like Jace that can throw the ball like he can.
I agree, man. And he is getting some attention. I'm talking when we're talking about he's getting some attention, he is getting some attention.
Yeah, he's drawing a lot of eyeballs. He really is. And you read an article, and I think I read an article the other day where they were talking about, little unknown but is making waves.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, so Lowndes is trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree.
Uh,
I agree. Now, I agree with Neesmith here. Timmy says that if Lowndes wins all those games, they will win the state championship. I agree with him.
I do.
If Lowndes runs that gauntlet and comes out as the victor of that right side of the bracket, there ain't no team in the state that's going to beat him because you just got through beating the top 3 teams in the state.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I'll agree with Errol Fender. You know, you can't be complacent. You got to grow every week. You got to get better in an aspect of the game every week.
Yeah,
And I think me and you talked about this the other night. Uh, Lowndes will have to play their most complete game against Buford from
that's right.
start to finish, and Buford's going to be one of those games where Lowndes cannot take their foot off the accelerator.
Now, Neesmith, he makes an excellent point, and this is the only thing I think Lowndes can beat all three of those teams if we play a near flawless games and count and hope for some mistakes. But here's the key to this. I'm going to put Neesmith's comments because I think this is an excellent point that he makes. I would be worried about the travel because they haven't went far at all from Lowndes County. Now we have had to go on the road in the playoffs for 3 to 4 straight weeks in a row.
Mhm.
And that is such a taxing ordeal when you have to do when there's such a short runway, a short turnaround time from one Friday to the next, right? You get home, let's say cross our fingers, next week we travel up to Buford. We play a fantastic game. We beat Buford. We get back home probably 2:30 in the morning, something like that. And then those guys are dog tired the rest of the day Saturday. They're getting their minds ready to go on Sunday. They go back to school on Monday. They practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, walk through Thursday. Now those guys, those starters, are probably getting on a bus Thursday afternoon and going up to Atlanta, right, to spend the night. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do.
I would
So
do that.
to do that, to have to do that 3 weeks in a row, possibly 4 weeks in a row, if you make it to the state championship, that's tough and very grueling on a team.
I think this team can do it because this team is very, very, very bonded together.
Oh yeah, certainly agree. It's been done before.
Yeah, and look, I said early on watching this team that, and you've heard me say it several times. I've even mentioned it to you. There's something about this team.
Yeah.
This team is different. This team is special. Um, and I think right now this team believes within themselves that they are world beaters.
Yeah.
I think the Colquitt County game really woke them up.
Mhm.
Um, and they have played a different level of football since then.
So which game you think woke them up?
Colquitt,
Okay. I can see that. Now, I'm going to ask you to elaborate. What do you mean? In what way did they wake up?
Colquitt showed them exactly what they could do.
Oh, okay, okay. So it gave them a splash of confidence. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because when you roll into the hog pen and you throw for the amount of yardage that Jace threw for, and you run for the amount of yardage that Marvis ran for, and I think Jalen Carter broke a single game receiving record
Yeah.
uh, against a very, very good Colquitt team. Um, you know, and it came down to a 50 something yard walk off field goal as time expired from the best kicker in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were never out of that game at all.
Right. Yeah. So Robert Lindsay, no, I'm sorry, Mike Scott brings up a pretty good point. He says it would be 1999 all over again if our Vikings run the table. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna take you guys back in the LG time machine, all the way back to 1999, and this is what Lowndes did in the playoffs. You know, in the regular season, they were 7-3 entering the playoffs. So they had to travel first round to Benedictine, won that game 28-7. Then traveled in the second round to up to Lovejoy and won 24-0. Then had to travel to Southwest DeKalb, won 28-27. Met Northside Warner Robins in the Georgia Dome in the semifinals, won 31-28 in a fantastic comeback in the second half. You guys remember that game? Was Barrett Wilkes the quarterback then? I think wasn't he Barrett Wilkes the quarterback on that team that led that comeback? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
And then was it? Yeah, we host Brunswick for the state championship that year when they still had state championships at the home stadiums, and we beat Brunswick 17-0. So we had to travel 4 straight weeks. So that's what we would have to do this year. But we have to do it against top 3 teams in the state in 3 successive weekly endeavors. Now, let's take a look at the other side of the bracket. Let's take a look at region counterpart Camden County, what they would have to do to reach a semifinal or a state championship game. So they're going to be underdogs this week. They're a 2-touchdown underdog against North Cobb. So Maxwell says North Cobb's probably going to win that game. But let's assume for a second. Are you agreeing with Maxwell?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I am too. But let's give Camden the benefit of the doubt and say Camden wins that game. Oops, sorry. And say Camden wins that game. All right, so who would they have to face? They would have to face Mill Creek. Mill Creek's a pretty good team. But let's assume for what we're doing tonight, let's say Camden wins that game. So who would they face in the quarterfinals? They would probably, out of all these three teams, they would probably face Harrison. That is a winnable bracket for Camden. If they get hot, that's a winnable bracket for Camden, right? Because none of those teams that they would have to face, I believe, are in the top 10.
See, I would have said Brookwood out of that bottom 4.
You think so?
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd have to go Brookwood to get that far.
Okay, so let me tell you how Brookwood has done this year. Okay, so they are coming out of Region 7.
Mm-hmm.
And so the teams that are in that region are North Gwinnett, Berkmar, Meadow Creek, Parkview, Peachtree Ridge, Duluth, and Norcross.
That's not a bad region.
That's not a great region either.
Not a great
There's
region.
there's one really, really good team in that region this year, and that's North Gwinnett. Parkview is way down this year. So that's why I say that. So here's, they lost badly to North Gwinnett, 36-10. So the other decent teams they played, Peachtree Ridge, a playoff team, they won 32-29. They beat Norcross 25-13. So that's why I'm saying this is a beatable, this is a winnable bracket. Am I saying Camden's going to do that? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But looking at their competition just in this quadrant, it's a doable quadrant. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. So if they were to reach the semifinals, that's who they would have to beat. They would have to beat North Cobb, Mill Creek, and Harrison. And you're saying maybe not Harrison, but maybe Brookwood. Okay. Now let's take a look at the upper left quadrant where Colquitt County is. Okay. So Colquitt is going to take on Wheeler, and Colquitt is going to have their way with Wheeler for sure. And then they're going to have to take on Collins Hill. That's a little bit tougher team. That might be a shootout. I think that's where Colquitt's season is probably going to end, but they're playing in the hog pen. So we all know how tough that is. So I'm going to give the nod to Colquitt just because they're playing in Moultrie.
Well, I don't think they can use all that squealing pig noise. So that's a plus for Collins Hill. At least they ain't got to listen to it.
All right, so let's take a look at. So out of this quadrant, Grayson is probably in Colquitt's future. So in the quarterfinals, it's going to be Colquitt and Grayson. And out of those two teams, based on a coin flip, it could be played at Grayson. It could be played in Moultrie. Okay. So for them to reach the semifinals, they would have to go through basically Collins Hill and Grayson. So that's why I say that the left side of that bracket, it's a winnable bracket. If Lowndes can get hot and run the table 3 weeks in a row, ends up meeting either Grayson or Colquitt in the state championship game, I think that's a winnable game considering what they just did.
Man, listen, you couldn't write a movie script any better than Lowndes and Grayson for a state title.
Listen, you couldn't write a script better than a 4-6 team last year going to a state championship this year.
Yeah, but think about it, man. You got a 4-6 team last year who if they can make it, and they can, not if, they can.
That's right.
They make a run to the state title and meet the school Adam Carter came from.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, that's a movie. That's a movie, man.
Yeah, let's go to the phone line. Hey, caller, welcome to the Viking Nation Live. What's on your mind?
What's going on, boys?
Tim Neesmith, Stick Man himself.
Stick Man in the house.
How are you, man?
What's going on? I'm good.
So you
Riding
rolling
down
down
this,
95? You thought you'd give us a call tonight?
You're heading down 75, southbound 75.
I hear you, man. You going to meet us at the Palace tomorrow night?
No, I'm not. I'm just going to lay my head down tonight, and we headed to Tampa in the morning.
I got you.
Nephew's getting married this weekend in Tampa, so
I got you. Well, at least you can watch them on NFHS tomorrow night.
that's right. I can watch it on NFHS.
All right. So listen, Tim, we talked at the during the off season, right before the season started, and I think it'd probably be safe to say that you're pleasantly surprised how this season has turned out.
Oh gosh, yes. I'm telling you, I never expected this. I'm just very, very pleasantly surprised.
Listen, man, you're not alone. You're not alone.
No, I'm not. I know I'm not. And Wilbur, of course, has been there all year and said it, but I am very happy for the seniors for this team.
Absolutely.
Because the seniors for this team has been through a lot.
They sure have. Man,
seriously, for them, I am extremely pleased, and I did not expect this, and might tick some people off saying that, but I did not see this coming at all.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't think anyone did. Even the diehards, whether it's me or Wilbur or whoever, no one could have predicted this. I mean, most people were saying 7-3. On the bright side, 8-2.
Yeah,
I predicted that we would win the region.
Yeah, you did, and I asked what you was smoking. I mean, some of that AI marijuana that you like to do.
Listen, man, don't be picking on my AI skills.
I don't know about your AI skills. You pick better football games than you do AI skills. Let's just say that.
I got one that's rolling out tomorrow morning during our wake up. It's game day type of deal. I think you guys are going to like. Oh, God.
Just keep your clothes on. Just keep your clothes on.
I think you guys are going to like it. I do really do.
I hate it for the Viking Nation, though, that you're going to be the Berrien County head football coach, so we'll lose a little bit of your time. And
listen, I was not going to make that announcement until a little bit later, but thanks for stealing my thunder.
He's bringing me on as the OC.
That's right. Hey, listen, for some of you that don't have a sense of humor, Stickman was kidding. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
Talking though about that 99 team, and this kind of ties into what I wanted to say. You remember when Rush Prost was at Colquitt?
Yeah.
All right, Rush got, all he wanted to do was make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That was
he had a saying, just get to the dance.
Yes, get to the dance was all he would say. Okay, and he didn't care if he was the 3 seed or the 4 seed, but just get to the dance. And if he had to travel 5 weeks in a row, by God, he traveled 5 weeks in a row.
That's right.
And he didn't care. But then he was like, gosh, if I could just get 1 or 2 games at home, it's just a wear and tear on the kids. And so then he started trying to concentrate on winning the region.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did, guess what happened? Guess what he done? He won back-to-back state championships.
That's exactly right. Hey, you remember? Was it Dubos's last year here that we went to the state championship? No. It was Randy McPherson.
Randy McPherson's last year we went to state.
Yeah, and then Dubose took us to the semifinals. I can't remember what year it was when we had like 4 straight. We won the region, and we had 4 straight playoff games at home.
Yes, we did.
And I'm telling you, as a fan base and as a program, that doesn't happen. That just doesn't happen. And when we were able to play 4 playoff games at home in a row, man, what a tremendous blessing that was on everybody.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, on everybody. But you know, tying what I was talking about with Colquitt, he just said, you know, I got to start getting.
Yeah.
His goal was 1 or 2 home games during
Right.
the playoffs. You know, then you don't have to make but 2 or 3 trips
Mhm.
if all goes well. That 99 team, and you know, 5 weeks in a row they was on the road.
Yep.
You know, except for the state championship game did come back to Mark Stadium.
Right.
And we beat Brunswick, I think 17-0.
That's right.
But yeah, Barrett Wills was the quarterback up there in the dome.
Weren't we down 28-0 at half?
We was down 28-3.
Oh, that's right. 28-3. That's right.
28-3 at halftime. And, you know, we were all kind of had our head down, and we kind of started getting a little bit of life in our head. He kept doing that rollout. Barrett Wilkes would roll out and throw back across the field,
Yep.
and they would not stop it. Well, when we took the lead, I took my shirt off. Well, I took my shirt off. We scored 2 touchdowns, and I had my shirt off, and I'm swinging it over my head, you know. Well, then we took the lead 31-28, and I put my shirt on. Well, my father-in-law said, take your shirt off, take your shirt off. So I had to take my shirt back off.
It's funny how superstitious we are in sports.
Oh, I'm telling you, everybody around me was laughing at me because I took my shirt off, but it was working, you know. And of course, Northside at that time, they had a running back that was All-American, went to Florida. They had a big offensive lineman that was going to Tennessee. Lowndes wasn't supposed to have a shot.
Yeah.
That night, but it's going to be interesting. I think Lowndes will win tomorrow night. I think they'll win handily. But any road game is tough. But then, of course, going to play the University of Beaufort, where you feel like you're walking into Neyland Stadium.
Yeah.
You know, it's
you know, I'm as a football fan, I'm actually looking forward to going up to Beaufort because I've never been on their campus and their stadium, but everybody keeps telling me that it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I was up there last week or 2 weeks ago. I was right there by it. It looks like a college campus. It's absolutely gorgeous.
You think that's winnable?
I do think it's winnable. I was just going to say one thing I think about Beaufort this year. I mean, they are Beaufort, don't get me wrong, but their quarterback play has not been what they're used to in the past. Right. The quarterback is very, very I don't want to say indecisive. I don't know the word is I'm looking for. He's very inconsistent. That's the word, inconsistent. He's not. Chase Johnson has outplayed Beaufort's quarterback by leaps and bounds. Okay, let's just turn the tide. If Beaufort has Jace at quarterback, I think they're the number 1 team in the state.
Yeah. Beaufort had some questionable games early in the season.
Yes, they did.
They lost to Milton, and Milton is a fantastic team. Highly nationally ranked Milton Eagles this year, defending state champions last year of 7.
Right.
But they lost that game to Milton, first game of the year, 13-10. And then
in a rain, in a downpour.
That's right. And so I can overlook that one. But then the very next week, they beat a Benedictine 29-28.
Yeah.
And that was a head scratcher to me. Benedictine is a good team, but should be nowhere near Beaufort's caliber.
Yeah.
And I think Ware County beat Benedictine later in the year.
I believe you're right.
So those were the first 2 games. So they'd seemed to get it turned around, and ever since then, we have a common opponent though. We both played Central Gwinnett.
Okay, what was the score with Beaufort and Central Gwinnett?
Very similar score. Central Gwinnett, they beat them 50-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rich Lowndes scored 40 on Central Gwinnett?
Yeah. So Lowndes took the foot off the gas pedal, probably very similar fashion to Beaufort, but I'm just not seeing a dominant Beaufort team this year that we've had in the past. and I
Right,
think they are beautiful. Not beautiful, but beatable.
Yeah.
So
I
does that
agree,
mean that
though.
Lowndes is going to go up there and dominate Buford? That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying
No,
that is
you're
a
just
winnable
saying
game.
it's a winnable game. But I agree with Chase. You cannot let your foot off the gas.
That's right.
You cannot get comfortable. And, and I think y'all have talked about it a lot this year. I will say that the defensive back play for Lowndes this year it's the best I've seen at Lowndes in
Sure.
10 years. I'll say 10 years and maybe even longer. We've not had good defensive back play in a long, long time at Lowndes High School.
We've had a few shining lights that played good, but as a collective whole, I agree with them.
No, not as a whole. We played 9 yards off the dang ball, and we just have not played defensive back play in a long, long time. Period. I don't care if it was Randy. I don't care if it was Zach, Jamie, whoever. We've not played good defense, a back play.
That's right.
But this year,
that's always been an Achilles heel for us.
It has, except until, when Greg Reed, Gerald Demps, that was the last time we had a solid defensive back.
Yeah.
But that play, the defensive side, all the way around is 100% better. But definitely the secondary play is much, much improved.
Yeah. Let's say it turns out to be a magical postseason. And then Colquitt County, given their quadrant over there, I think Colquitt has a chance to reach the title game as well. How much of how crazy will this community go if Lowndes gets a rematch with Colquitt in Mercedes-Benz?
Oh, we win that game. We win that game now.
Mercedes-Benz might be a sellout.
I don't know about that, but I know what you're saying, though.
Moultrie would be empty. Valdosta would be empty.
Right.
But the other token on that is I wish, guys, they would go back to the semifinals in the Dome.
Me too.
Take the state championship back to the home stadiums.
Yep.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Oh God!
But if that were the case in that particular situation, that means that if they were doing that this year, Lowndes would have to play a state championship game in Moultrie.
Well, so be it.
Right.
If that's what we had to do, that's what we'd have to do.
Yeah.
But I'd much rather play it there than in Mercedes-Benz.
But here's
closer.
Here's the thing: if we were to do that this year, let's say we were to play a state championship game against Moultrie in Moultrie. My only hope is that Adam Carter's request would be, give me a officiating crew out of the furthest corner of North Georgia you can find one.
Which they would.
And bring them down, because you couldn't have any home based officials. We saw how that went.
That's right.
Well, we can sit here and talk and speculate, but thing is one game at a time.
That's right. Right.
You gotta win tomorrow night, then you gotta go back Sunday and get ready for next week. Just one game at a time.
So listen, I've got something I'm going to put on the screen for Michael Jarvis, who's a big Colquitt County fan. Michael's called in the show before. He's a really good guy, but this is just for Michael here from our friend Jason Anderson. He says, I'd rather watch a game anywhere besides Moultrie.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
I kind of agree with him. I'm sorry, Michael, but I kind of agree with him.
I know. I hate going to Moultrie. I was talking to a fan up here the other day, and he was talking about, going to watch a team and all the people sitting on the other side, the home team sitting on the visitor side. And I said, yeah, Colquitt County is the worst about that. You can have the whole center section, but then they're going to sit right there on top of you to the left of the 50.
Right.
Running that mouth. But
listen, I'm not going to belabor the point, but the thing that I hate the most about playing in Moultrie, I can put up with the fans in the stands, right? Because they're in the stands and they can jaw whatever. But when you have some of their fans stand right behind our bench, and you know how close the player area is to the stands. But when you have fans standing on the fence line right behind the bench, insulting players, saying the nastiest things, I mean, that to me, that is just below the belt kind of stuff.
Right. Well, and the sheriff's department shouldn't allow that to happen.
Right.
You know, they should be moving. They shouldn't be stopped on the fence. But
yeah, so we won't belabor that point. We'll move on.
No, we won't. Let's just go take care of business.
That's
and like
right.
I said, it's one game at a time. But I have been very, very pleasantly surprised for this Viking bunch. And I will be watching in Tampa, Florida, at the rehearsal dinner. I'll have the have it
He's
on.
gonna have it on his phone like this. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, all 4 of our grandchildren are in the wedding. So we're all headed south. We're just going to spend the night at my in-law's house tonight, break it up.
Yeah.
We'll head on to Tampa in the morning. And but all 4 of our grandbabies are in the wedding.
Listen, I used to really like and respect Earl Musa Carter Jr. until this comment he puts. I'm going to put this comment on the screen, Timmy. Get your
I can't see it. I can't see it.
I'll read it out
now.
to you. Earl says, right next to the Dallas Cowboys fans. Earl,
kind of agree with
what
that.
are you doing? Go Cowboys. Are you crazy? That's the Cowboys are America's team, man.
Yeah, and later on tonight, there's going to be an unsolved mystery special of what happened to We Them Boys.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just picking on you, Earl. No, I love the Dallas Cowboys. I cannot stand Dak Prescott. We need a new quarterback, but that's the last thing I'll say about the Cowboys.
I need a new owner.
Well,
Tim, I'll give you the last
see
word, man, before we cut you loose.
Well, I was just going to say, you see the talk this week is about Jerry Jones hiring Dion and then drafting Sanders' son.
Yeah. Man, I hope that's not the case, but you never know.
Oh, my God. Who knows? The problem with the Dallas Cowboys is Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
You need to get his tail out of there. And I'm an old Cowboys fan. I used to love the Dallas Cowboys, but he's the problem. He is the Achilles heel, if you will.
You might be right.
I mean, he wants too much control.
Right.
You know, he wants to be in everything. But I'll say, good job, good show, great season, Vikings. Let's go win another one, and we'll see y'all in Atlanta next week.
Listen, we win tomorrow night. Chase, you're gonna have to help me remember this. I'm gonna try to have an AI version of Timmy on the screen with us next week.
An AI version of me.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
We got to make it where all he says is when we refer to Timmy is we look at Timmy and he goes Lounge by 50.
Yep. There you go.
Lounge
Hey,
by
listen.
50.
I ran Chase and Armand through my AI simulator, and it produced some good stuff.
Really?
Yeah, me and Armand look like some world-class businessman pimp.
Oh gosh.
I mean, they look good, man. I gotta admit, they look good.
They look good. Now y'all really are drinking the juice.
Well, let me rephrase. As good as they could look.
Yeah, there we go.
Listen.
All right, guys. Well, I'll let y'all hang up. Let somebody else call, but I'll talk to you later. Go Vikes.
See you, man. Stay safe.
Bye bye.
It's always fun catching up with Neesmith.
Oh yeah. Stick Man's great.
All right, before we get out of here tonight, let me go ahead and throw up on the screen this alternate bracket that I was telling you about today. Okay, so let me set this thing up. You guys know, let me take this off the screen. You guys know that the typical GHSA bracket is there's 8 regions in the state. Automatic bid to the playoff. Top 4 teams in each region. And so we want to be in that top 4 of you.
Yeah.
So what if we did it a little bit differently? Like some of the lower classifications are doing it, right? I think it's class 3 and below, where they basically seed the teams 1 through 32 instead of the top 4 out of each region. What if class 6A, you actually seeded the teams 1 through 32 and the top 32 rated or ranked teams were included into playoffs, regardless of how many teams in your region make it? How interesting would that be?
I'd like to see how that would work out. Like really, honestly, like I would like to see that bracket.
So here's the methodology that I use because I actually hand wrote this thing out, looking it up the potential ranking. So there's not a ranking system that does the entire state, with the exception of one, and that's the Max Preps rankings. So
Yeah.
their computer generated ranking ranks every team in the state of Georgia. I don't. I'll be honest with you up front. I don't know their methodology, right? So I don't know what they base these rankings on, but that's the ranking system that I used.
Isn't that the same ranking systems that the
That's
GHS
included in the composite ranking.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So you see how much credence that other pollsters around the state give it. So it's actually a pretty good computer ranking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ranking has Lowndes at number 4.
Yeah.
That computer ranking. All right, so here's what it would look like. Okay, so the teams that are highlighted on the screen are the teams out of our region, Region 1-6A. If you, I'll count them off here. 1, oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. How many teams do we have in our region?
6.
6 teams. According to this methodology, all 6 teams in Region 1-6A would make the postseason based on their rankings being in the top 32. That's how strong the computer weighs our region this year. Okay. Now it's completely opposite of what I thought or going into the season. I thought our region would be down, and there's an argument to be made either way, but regardless, the Max Preps rankings says that it's a strong region. Okay. Based on the records and that kind of stuff. So, what I did was, here's the number 1 seeded team in the state. Okay. And number 32 is right over here somewhere. Can't remember who the number 30. Oh, I know. Let's see. There's 27, 28. Okay, so there's 31. So 32 is right there, right underneath it. What am I talking about? So Buford would be taking on Marietta because Marietta would be the number 32 team. So where does Lowndes shake out? So here's Lowndes. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Colquitt. Here's Lowndes. Okay, so Lowndes would be facing, coincidentally, North Paulding in the first round. How weird is that?
That's crazy.
In both scenarios. In this particular scenario, North Paulding comes in ranked at number 29, and it just so happens Lowndes would be facing the number 29 team. So let's assume for a second Lowndes wins that game. Okay. Then they would be facing the winner of Richmond Hill and East Coweta. I'm going to say Richmond Hill wins that game. So how weird would it be in the 3rd round for Lowndes and Richmond Hill to be facing off at Martin Stadium again?
That'd be the 2nd round.
No, it'd be the 3rd round because here's the 1st round right here. Here's the 2nd round. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. So the 2nd round. And so Lowndes would then advance to take on probably Grayson here. But check this out. Tift County comes in as the number 28 team in the state, according to Max Preps.
Man, look, look, that would be one of those games that Grayson would overlook and Tift County would just crush them.
I don't know about that. I couldn't go that far.
Look, man, I said it all year. Tift County is about 5 plays away from only having 1 loss.
Yeah.
I mean, they really were in a lot of games they shouldn't have been in.
Do you know why I like this particular system better? Because 1, it accounts for stronger regions versus weaker regions, right? And it eliminates the need for coin flips because there's always going to be a higher seeded team.
Only problem with that is the only downside that I could see with that is the people north of Forsyth would pitch an absolute fit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely they would. That's why this would never happen.
Yeah, because Yeah, GHSA ain't going to allow that to happen because that would benefit South Georgia.
Yeah. So if this were to happen and we would meet Grayson in this fictitious bracket, this game would be played at Lowndes because Lowndes would be number 4 and Grayson would be number 5.
Yeah.
I like our odds.
Yes.
I really like our odds. Okay, so then you have up here Colquitt's bracket. So Colquitt is definitely going to beat Lambert. Valdosta is going to beat Peachtree Ridge. And then Colquitt and Valdosta face off in the second round. How quirky is that? And this time they would play in Moultrie. And so because they played in Moultrie, I would give Colquitt the nod.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so in this one, it would be Buford.
Yeah.
And so listen, they would have to, Colquitt would have to travel up to Buford. Because of that, I would give Buford the nod. And then you have the scenario again of instead of Lowndes facing Buford in the second round, now in this scenario, Lowndes would face Buford in the semifinals.
Yeah.
How fun would the state championship be or the state playoffs be if you had an alternate bracket like this?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought it was fun. I was playing around with the numbers this week and it came to me. It's like, man, this would be so fun.
Dude, I like the idea. I think it opens up a slew of possibilities.
Yeah.
And I think for the fans and I think for the players, it would be great because then you got some teams that, might squeak in that might otherwise be left out.
Yeah. I hear you, man. I hear you. All right, let's answer some questions before we call it a night. Oh, if you guys are wondering where our other super fan is, Armand Rashad, he's having a banner month selling cars. And so he was supposed to be here at 7:00, but at the last second, someone wanted to buy a car. And so he's going to sell him a car. So that's why I couldn't. So he's having career success. So we wish him the very best.
Lowndes by 50.
Lowndes by 50. That's right. That's right. All right, let's answer a couple of these questions before we call it a night. Pam Dawson says, if Lowndes wins Friday, will it be at home next week? And the answer is no.
No.
If Lowndes wins Friday, unfortunately, because we are the number 2 seed, we would probably face Buford in the second round. And Buford is probably going to win their first round matchup. And so that they are a higher seeded team. And so we would have to travel to Buford. Now, we are hoping beyond hope that East Coweta catches fire in the first round against Buford and East Coweta wins that game. And so Pam, in that scenario, then the Indians would come down to Lowndes in week 2. So tomorrow night, we are East Coweta Indian fans.
There always is one team somewhere in that bracket
that upsets somebody.
Yeah. It's either going to be Walton or it's going to be East Coweta.
Walton is probably, statistically speaking, probably has an upper hand over East Coweta.
Well, tomorrow night I'm going to be East Coweta fan.
There you go.
Go Indians.
Go Indians. All right, let's wrap this up with a couple of other questions or comments. Let's see. Yeah, Chad House says we're hoping for an East Coweta miracle. Of course. Michael Baxter says, who would Milton play after Woodstock? So Milton is in bracket or class 5A this year, right? So let me answer that real fast because I've got it right here, I think. Yeah, here we go. All right, so football, so that would be class 5A. Let me find Milton. Milton's the number 1 ranked team. Who is Milton playing in the first round? Okay, so Milton plays Woodstock in the first round, and the winner of that game plays the winner of Decatur and Dutchtown. Don't know anything about those teams, but that answers your question.
Who's TCC draw in the first round?
Let's see. They would be in the other side of the bracket. So they play the number 3 team out of Region 8, and that's is it Winterbarrow? Wanderbarrow?
No idea. Never heard
Yeah,
of it.
and so in the second round, they're going to win that game. In the second round, they're going to take on. Looks like they're going to have to travel up to Rome to play the Rome Wolves in the second round. That's
Boy.
going to be a good game. Going to be a good game for them on the road. And then if they survive that one, then they're going to have to play probably a very good Langston Hughes team on the road as well. And so Thomas County Central is basically in the same boat that we are. They're the number 2 team out of that region, losing to Lee County. So after that first round game at home, they're going to be road warriors as well. So anyway, they've got a tough bracket too on the left side of their bracket. Okay. All right. Michael Jarvis says, good luck. Y'all win. We would love a rematch. Absolutely. Michael, we can be friends for the next 3 weeks, and then we'll be enemies again for that 1 week.
Michael, you don't want that. You don't want that rematch, fam. I promise you.
Robert Lindsay says, I'll take your Lowndes by 50 and raise you. And he says Lowndes by 60. I love it. I love it. Maria Reese. I'm assuming, Maria, with the last name Reese, that you are related to the offensive coordinator for Lowndes, Christopher Reese. So I'm assuming that it's a aunt, sister, mother, something, family member of. But she says, I believe in our boys and their unity. Absolutely. They've gotten this far because they play as a team. Y'all, this is a special group of young people who love, trust, and respect each other and believe in their coaches. Go Vikings. We will be listening in tomorrow night from Oconee County. Oconee County. That's over there. Oh, Lake Oconee. Okay. Yeah, I know where that is. All right. So I think that is going to wrap it up for. So Tim Neesmith says, how crazy is it that 3 state championship teams from last year are all in 5A? Yeah, that is crazy. So anyway, guys, we will see you tomorrow night at the Concrete Palace. Look at Chase showing off his Lowndes shirt there. I'm going to show off my Lowndes microphone hood there. Okay, so listen, we hope you guys stay safe tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit chilly tomorrow night at kickoff. I think it's supposed to be 59 degrees at kickoff, something like that. Finally, really, really good football weather, right? So bring your jackets. Don't bring a blanket. No, I'm kidding. Bring a blanket if you need to, but don't let the cold weather be an excuse for you to huddle up underneath your jacket or your blanket and just stay still. If you want to generate some heat, get up, move around, shout, cheer for your Vikings, because we're going to need you tomorrow night. Okay. With that said, we miss you, Armand. I know you're catching us on the replay for Chase Garnto. I'm Larry Godwin. Thank you so much to Tim Neesmith for calling in tonight. He's safe travels for him traveling down to Tampa for a wedding. Listen, you guys have been watching another outstanding episode of the Viking Nation Live. May God bless every single one of you. Stay safe. And as always, go Vikings.
Go Vikings.